Hello, my name is Lumiel, and this is the Bloodborne Lorethrough, where we play through Bloodborne and uncover and discuss the lore as it's presented. In the previous episodes, we've made it through the Cathedral Ward, we've gone to Hemmock Charnel Lane, and we've even seen the Hunter's Nightmare. In this episode, we pursue our quest to seek Pale Blood to end the endless hunt, the endless night. And that takes us through the Cathedral Ward to the path for Byrgenwerth, where we had a password locked door that was preventing us from proceeding. And we now know the adage of the Healing Church, and that is the password we need to pursue. So since it's been a few episodes, I figured I would start at Erden Chapel and show the way to the door. So we can just run right past these guys. Again, they have lanterns that have extra abilities now that we have gained further insight, which means they always had those abilities, but we did not have the knowledge of the Great Ones and the knowledge to actually even visibly recognize what was happening. And then the door is over here, down this path. Here's Alfred, the Vile Blood Hunter, student of Master Ligarius, and we've already talked to him, and he's taught us more about the Vile Bloods and about Castle Canehurst, an area that we've only heard about really from him and from the spear rifle description. And here's the door that we couldn't get through, so.
The password. No. Someone at the door. Let's get the door. Let's get the door.
So, somebody who seems to be in a fairly deranged or upset state of mind, muttering to themselves, but we know the password, which was, we heard Master Willem and Lawrence discuss, which was longer than this, but the key phrase that they said in unison was "Fear the Old Blood." And that allows us through. So who is keeping the door? Well, it appears to be a corpse. Unless somebody managed to open it and run away very fast. It appears that this corpse was somehow keeping the door closed until that adage was said. So let's talk. And we can't, because he's already dead. And the fact that this person guarded the door, let us through, and was already dead, is what gave us this madman's knowledge, which, as we know, is related to insight and that infernal knowledge linked to the Great Ones. So, again, it's making contact with eldritch wisdom. It's a blessing, for even if it drives one mad, it allows one to serve a grander purpose for posterity. So, the door provides access to a stairway, which leads down. And has access to the next area of the game, the Forbidden Woods. As we've noted before, we knew that Byrgenwerth was hidden from the world, and it was in the, somebody described it as essentially deep, dark woods. And so, this area, I will go ahead and say, is kind of a confusing, tangled, I won't say mess, because it's well designed, but it can be difficult to progress in any just straightforward linear way. So if this episode takes us if this area takes us multiple episodes, it may not be as simple as from here to lamp 1 or lamp 2 and then straight on from there. we may have to be backtracking and discovering new areas that were nested under an area we were in before, or there was an elevator we didn't see, or a staircase, or a ladder. And so the path heads that way, but let's go ahead and look down this way. There is a guy waiting down there. And patrolling across the bridge there, and I can see an item there, but this is not a drop we could survive. So let's continue down the path. So I would describe this area as a dense and tangled woods. See a huge structure up there. A series of structures, really. Water with a bridge over it. The guy patrolling back and forth down there. So we'll keep continuing down this main path. Now we have somebody coming up towards us. There's a path up there, but let's deal with the guy. And somebody is throwing stuff. It's throwing oil urns so that the guy that we just took out with the torch could set us on fire. So there's a path up here too. One that goes down past the guy who was throwing the oil. But I might have been incorrect about... Okay, so there was a little path in here. Some bloodstone shards. We'll go ahead and collect this item. Just a pebble. Again, those are often used to draw our attention so that we would get hit by the oil and lit on fire. We've got kind of a lit set of tombstones, and you'll see those placed throughout. There's the guy we just took out. And another fire, and we can hear and now see I am always slow on the firing against him. There. And he gave us a pungent blood cocktail. And it's a horse that's on fire lighting this area. A little disturbing. And then back here is a little cave, essentially. Madman's Knowledge and an Adept Blood Gemstone level 2. So this was just a little nook leading back. What we want to do is continue moving down. Up here is where the guy was throwing oil at us. Here's the pebble. And we'll just continue moving. Now down here we know there was a guy kind of patrolling back and forth across the bridge. He's up there. Here's the first lamp of the area, and we can see a structure here. But we can't open this door. There's some more crows over this way. And an item back tucked away here, an antidote. Which often when I find an antidote, I think, okay, is this a poison area? I don't think there is a significant amount of poison here though, so... Alright, and we've got a guy firing at us here, so let's rush him and hope that there's nothing that we need to worry about there. So, we rushed him. There was the guy that was patrolling. Is there anything over this way? And there is. Twin bloodstone shards. Alright. Then if you continue forward, the observant may notice something up in the trees and something odd in your path. That is to swing and hit you as you rush past that guy. And I didn't realize it breaks free and rolls away, and so I still got hit from it, so no big deal. It would be a big deal if you hadn't over-leveled like I have. So, now we have the first little kind of jut in the path. So the main path is driving us this way, and we can see a hunting group there. So we can backtrack. And up above them, we did see a larger beast patrolling around. So we will also just take him out. And we could drop off over here. There's a guy down here. One there. There's 2 dogs and 1 guy near the fire. So let's just take the path and just draw them out. I would say 1 by 1, but that's not likely. Let's draw them out as we can. I'm going to rush him and then roll away. And somebody's throwing oil. Alright, so this guy is coming towards us. He should be essentially dead. Alright. The oil guy is going to be annoying. So let's go above him. And drop down on him. And we got the dog too. That leaves him and another oil guy. And you'll see these guys are all armed with torches, so they really could be causing a lot of damage with the oil. Okay, so we've cleared out the area and can collect the items. We have twin bloodstone shards, a couple blood vials, and that is this main leg of the path. I don't believe there's anything up here of note, but we will just check. No, that's where we could have dropped down behind one of the guys. Now we have a few different directions. There's that way, and up over this hill. So let's stick to the right here. And then there's a crow. At least 1 crow. Okay, there are a few more. And that's it. It's really just an area to get those twin bloodstone shards from that crawling creature. And then I would call that the main path. So let's just look over this and see if that main path reconnects here. And we caught his attention. Well, let's go up in the house here. Beast blood pellets. I'm going to keep in mind the main path that we didn't go to and just try to track the geography of does it connect to this area. It might lead down to that part of the main path there. Alright, thick cold blood, and then a dead end here. We've got a gate, and look there, another. Okay, so that broke. Man, see, this is where it gets so confusing because now I have a path up here, a path over here, and so I'm going to backtrack to that earlier main path that we didn't take. So it was up over this hill of flowers. And straight over here. Another horse on fire. And then a drop. Several guys there, which you should throw stones to get their attention, or if you don't have stones, fire a bullet. Or, if you really want, you get close enough and they start patrolling. Watch out, though. That much, we just were on a structure that broke away, and I would suspect that will do the same. We'll get him. And there's the gate we just were at, so this does round back to that gate. We have lots of people's attention now. Keep in mind it will be all much harder if you haven't overleveled like me. Quicksilver bullets. Pungent blood cocktail. Blood vial. So again, there is a path up back here. So I may go that way because I feel like the main path is taking us past these guys. So I will check out where this leads and then we'll come back to that. So we can see a bunch of houses off this way. I don't want to drop down because I'm not sure how easy it is to get back up there. We can see a guy hidden back there. I think that's that's where there was a fire and a few guys that we just didn't deal with yet. So here's a first house, and we have a lantern, an incense lantern, which usually lets us.
Oh, a hunter of beasts, are you? Glory be, you know not the value you possess. But more's the pity. The hours of the night are many, and the beasts more than I can count. A veritable hunt unending. Not even death offers solace, and the blood imbibes you. A most frightful fate. Oh my. But I'm willing to do you a kindness. Step lightly round to the right of the great cathedral and seek an ancient, shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength. Yes, I'm unquestionably certain.
So he told us to go around, which we've actually already been there. We're one of those great ones. The amygdala grabbed us and we survived, but there was this large church off to the right. He called it a shrouded church of the Grand Cathedral. And he's saying the gift of the Godhead will grant us strength. So that might be another key item, like the Eye of a Blood-Drunk Hunter, let us be grabbed by an amygdala and survive it and take us somewhere else. So he gave us a tonsil stone, a latticed, deformed rock. It actually looks quite a bit like an amygdala's head. Or perhaps it's a meteorite. It appears useless but possesses some odd gravitational force that prevents its riddance. A dubious soul once said, "Step lightly round to the right of the great cathedral and seek an ancient shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength." I laugh because he just told us that, and then the description tells us a dubious soul once told us. So,
Not even death offers solace. Seek you the ancient shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength.
alright. So, Continuing past him, I would call this kind of the upper area of the woods where, I don't want to call it a neighborhood, but kind of an upper residential area, for lack of better words. But the upper Forbidden Woods, it kind of resides over the main path that we would have taken. There's the house where we just got the tonsil stone, so let's hug this wall. And it brings us to a cave. Going to stop and look at the flowers. An interesting looking flower we haven't seen yet. Lots of rotted or deteriorated corpses here. Antidote. A large drop off there. And a large body of water. So that is a giant like we've seen dressed in the church garb. He's got a bell around his neck. And there we can see another and one that seems to be resting. So is this where they're from and they're brought up and used by the church? Or are these ones that were used by the church and placed down here? Frenzied cold blood. And is this just water, or does it have... It does have a status effect. Hence the antidotes that we were granted at the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and... We've got poisoning, which is manageable, so don't worry about that. It's more important that we watch out for these things. Eels of a sort. Take care of him. Roll. I thought that would take care of him. Alright. We can see a path here, but we're going to take out what we can in this main area and then kind of walk around the exterior again. Frenzied cold blood, another eel. These can stun lock you while you're fighting somebody more dangerous. They're not harmless in of themselves, but they can really be an annoyance when you're distracted trying to fight a giant. See? Let's see if this gets his attention, and it does. Roll. Alright, so you would really want to watch your health because it's constantly draining. You're fighting a giant. You have these eels attacking you. And on top of that, like I've said before, I'm over leveled, so I'm able to do this a little more carelessly. So you'll also want to be using antidotes. But I came in here. We grabbed the item from there and one from the center here. And look at this huge tombstone, it appears. Can't get up there, and we can't read what it says. So we just have to take note that we've seen giants, and here's a giant tombstone. Even for their size, it would be large. There's light upon that. It almost looks like there's an item there. There's another cave there. We've got a nourishing blood gemstone. I think there was a nook or a cranny back this way. So we came in over there. Arcane blood gemstone. This weapon I am using is an arcane weapon, so that could be quite useful. Arcane, again, being essentially the magic of Bloodborne. Alright, let's hug this left wall. That lighting is so distracting. It's the exact same lighting as when there's an item. Whereas that one is more clearly different and just meant to draw your attention to that tombstone. Okay, we have a cave entrance here. Up to a ladder. And then, okay, this is the cave entrance that was on the right side behind this first couple giants we fought. So we know now that those are both leading us to this ladder. So in order to get here, we had to go into the Forbidden Woods, into an upper area, into this cave of poison and giants filled with leeches, and then we have this ladder leading up. So where does this ladder lead us? And it seems to be almost like I said, were those giants working for the church, or were they discarded by the church? And who has this path that leads back into the Forbidden Woods? And for what reason? And we have another ladder going up, but this tells us nothing except that the structure looks like Central Yharnam. The architecture. We see the night sky, graves, and again, a Central Yharnam-like architecture. And here is Iosefka's clinic. So this was the gate that we couldn't open at the start of the game. Let's find out where it leads. So we came up through there. There's the gate that leads back to the start of the game. And this leads behind Iosefka's clinic. So there's a walkway here to an open courtyard, it looks like. And here's a character we've seen before. Not a character, a creature. And I've told you before I don't like them, and we will see why here. He just sucked 1, 2 insight from me. Insight lets us see the world as it is, but mechanically in the game it also lets you summon help to boss fights. So I don't love these creatures. It is interesting they feed on insight. So lore wise I do like them. And in all actuality, I like them just fine. Just, I do not toy around with them. When I see them, I rush to take them out. So there is some madman's knowledge, and there's a ladder right and behind us. So let's take that. Now we're on the rooftops. I can see some crows up and to the right again. Let's go ahead. It takes us to the same place, but can't pick up the pebble. Now we're brought to an entrance. And we heard a sound. It sounds like when somebody, specifically the amygdalas, performed some cosmic maneuver. We heard that as we entered here. I don't know if it's repeatable. We'll try. Nothing. Okay, so through that entrance from the rooftops, I'm heading to the right. I can see an item in there and some odd creature. So before we go there, let's head to the left. See where that takes us. Got a path to the right and a path to the left here. So over here we can see just barely a very odd creature with a bulbous head, two glowing little eyes perhaps, and scrawny arms and legs. And we have the communion rune, which let's take a look. We had one before, we have another, so the one we had before says the same thing as this one, which rune represents the healing church and its ministers. Blood ministration is, of course, the pursuit of communion. So let's continue on here. So we saw a dead creature and the communion rune. We have a path over here. From here.
Moonlit scents. How did you worm your way in here? Very unfortunate. I had such high hopes for you. Well, I won't make any excuses. Would you mind leaving us alone? Things need not change. You'll do the rescuing, and I'll do the saving. But if you refuse to leave... Oh well. I've always wanted to try my hand on a hunter.
So this is not Iosefka. This is the woman who has seemingly replaced Iosefka. Because if you remember, Iosefka wanted to protect her patients and could not accept anyone in who had been exposed to the beast scourge. And eventually, a woman was in Iosefka's clinic and telling us to bring back more people for her. Let's go ahead and... I guess I need that extra bit of light. So let's go ahead and find out who she is, where she is.
This won't hurt a bit. I'll soon have you right as rain.
So she can heal.
This won't hurt a bit. I'll soon have you.
I'm trying to use a great sword in a narrow hallway, which is not
Just die.
working out great.
Enough of you.
I'm going to switch, if for no other reason, so that we can see lit well. She used an attack that we've not seen before, and it's a pretty strange cosmic attack. Let's see if we can bait it out again. So we see tentacles come out from her. Alright, but let's just go ahead and make some progress on her here.
Curse this oblivious fool.
So she calls us oblivious. And from there we pick up a rune called Erdenwrath. Erdenwrath. A liaison rune. Visceral attacks restore quicksilver bullets. A carol rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. Writhe sees a subtle mucus in the warmth of blood and acknowledges visceral attacks as one of the darker hunter techniques. Visceral attacks restore quicksilver bullets. Human or no, the oozing blood is a medium of the highest grade, and the essence of the formless Great One, Erden. Both Erden and his inadvertent worshippers, we've heard that before, surreptitiously seek the precious blood. So, we heard that in this formless Erden rune, and both times they say Erden's inadvertent worshippers surreptitiously seek the precious blood. So more so than even the others, it seems like his worshippers, again, inadvertent worshippers, are driven for this, to seek out this precious blood. And that is saying they are more visceral attackers. So they benefit from those visceral attacks that we perform. And there's nothing in here, just more medical equipment. And she called us a fool. So let's return to the other direction. Down there is where we picked up the rune and saw the strange creature. Here's where we fought fake Iosefka. Fosefka. And then down this way was the door that I saw a creature through and an item. And I said we would come back to it. So, there is the creature we see. It's just like the dead one. So where are her patients? Where are the people that she was accepting in? We didn't send any. But in theory, she was accepting some. She was trying to get me to bring her some. And this is where we woke up in the game, from this table right here. And where we woke up, we find a Canehurst summons. So, is it an item we inadvertently left behind? We know it wasn't actually there when we left because we were thorough, but we have a Canehurst summons. And the Canehurst summons invites us to Canehurst, an old bloodstained summons inviting an honored guest to the Forsaken Castle Canehurst. Rather bafflingly, it is addressed to you. Do not hesitate. The stagecoach leaves from Hemmock Crossing. So we have heard of Castle Canehurst and the vile bloods that reside there from Alfred. And we've learned that the blood brought back from the Canehurst to the church was considered forbidden. And now we have a summons to go there, and it says, see you at the crossing in Hemmock. So, to get to Canehurst, we will have to return there. And it seems cruel, considering he's not aggressive, but see if he drops anything. So, that dropped Iosefka's blood vial, telling us that whoever this woman was, she was changing people. That is Iosefka there. All that does is heal us, but for the symbolism's sake, I didn't like leaving that there. And so that means these were the doors that we originally went out to the game. And we started here and could not proceed back this way. We can now. And this will be a slightly shorter episode than some episodes, I assume. Some are shorter, some are longer. This is kind of right in between. I know we were heading into the Forbidden Woods, but instead this really became an episode about Iosefka's clinic. So now we've been through there, we've discovered what is going on inside, though we don't really quite know. What is she turning them into, and how is she doing it? And who was she? So we found out that there is a woman who had replaced Iosefka, turned Iosefka into some bulbous-headed, slimy, shiny creature, and was asking us to bring her more so that she could keep doing that. We put a stop to that, and in the next episode we will continue on in that upper area of the Forbidden Woods and make our way back down. So check out the next episode to see that.